Walk us through the journey. How do you go from clueless as to what that is
hmm
to a sense of clarity and direction to that force?
I kind of have three components of a purpose. Just kind of call it my three P's of purpose, right? And the big one, I think, is the kind of the central pillar of it all is pain. Are you willing to look at your pain in your life? I have a firm belief that we are all on a redemptive journey. We're all part of a redemptive story, and our life is there's things that are longing to be redeemed in us. Unfortunately, we do that by getting the better looking girl, the high paying job, big time position, and it's avoidance of our pain. When we're willing to look at our pain in our life and really understand our life story, what has been good, bad, and I think of pain in three ways. Really, it's failure. Yeah, we are terrified of failure, right? We live our lives avoiding failure, that fear of failure. And if we're willing to look at those failures, whether it's relationally, occupationally, or just personally, right? Next is traumas, and those are a little harder. The big T traumas or even the little T traumas. What are the little things that happen in our life that really it can help you understand why you did certain things, who you are? And then three is the hard to define, but complexity. Like life is complex. People are
Mm.
complex, and it's just not going to be perfect. It's not, like I said, it's not a straight line in life. This life is not linear.
Cartwright, what is the source or that apex of pain in your journey?
Really, it was kind of a lot of accumulation of things, but mainly like teenage years, the complexity of being a teenager, but really feeling like a failure, feeling unworthy, feeling this constant level of anxiety and shame that I was no good. I
Hmm.
wasn't smart enough. I wasn't athletic enough. Wasn't good looking enough, feeling that sense of just rejection from first girlfriend. And right now you look back and that's small. That was just high school, right? But you kind of like, man, it did a number on me because I dictated so much of my life on not wanting to feel that way again. That fear of failure and that feeling of rejection that I am unworthy and therefore I'm not smart. And it's kind of funny. A lot of my friends now think back. I used to have a belief that I was an idiot. I wasn't very smart.
I really appreciate you being vulnerable, sharing that with us. So pain is number one. We're talking about the three P's of purpose. What's number two?
Well, out of pain, I want to give credit to our man Rory Vaden. Is that book? You are best served to serve the person you used to be, right? When we understand our pain, we realize there are people like us experiencing that same thing. And I think at the core, like when I talk about purpose, I think there always has to be a impact and influence and a service of other people. If our purpose isn't have that as part of the equation, we're just selfish. We're not actually having long-term success or impact, right? I think you have to understand who are the people you're trying to reach. And I think on this journey as I'm figuring out, like, we're not all things to all people. We're not meant to impact everyone on the planet. We all try to want to be the rock, right? And have 100 million followers, but it's just not reality. And you'll have greater impact when you find out who is that one person I'm speaking to, who is that small niche of people that really it'll not only change their behavior, but resonate internally that'll change their lives forever. That leads to a lasting change, lasting success, and strong mindsets. So
I think that mindset you just described, that if I'm able to transform the life of one person
mm-hmm.
versus have a really minor, incremental, slight benefit to a lot of people, there's a fashion or a fetish even around Instagram followers and having a massive audience and impacting millions of lives. And don't get me wrong, that is really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I have found what you said though to be true in my own experience, that every time I get in pursuit of big numbers, I actually feel emptier than if I simply come back to how can I make the biggest impact possible on one person. I love it. What about number three then? Where do we go from there?
It's kind of the one that everybody thinks about when it's purpose, but it's passion. Like at the end of the day, you got to be excited about what you're doing. You got to get up in the morning like, yes, this is how I want to reach these people But it's got to start with the first two, and that really you can really then articulate the third thing. That passion, that drive, and that thing that I just get jacked about. I just like, I could do it for free if I could. But I think that thing that you really are like passionate about and you really desire, you should be compensated for it at the end of the day, because you're bringing value to people. But I think I always got to start with the first two, because when you start articulating those, then that third thing you can start articulating what that is, and you can really create even a platform from it. So yeah.
To your point, passion gets the spotlight. A lot of times when you think about somebody who's purpose driven, we picture that passionate individual, and maybe passion gets more airtime than pain and people. And that might be, to your point, totally backwards in terms of our discovery and what creates depth to purpose.